Welcome to Highlight Your Healing. I'm Shannon Roan, grief coach and founder of J&J Journals. This podcast is for women navigating grief and looking for ways to heal with faith. Today, I want to talk about something that can be really hard to do when life just doesn't make sense. And that's trusting God's plan. You know how when you get on an airplane, we buckle our seatbelt, we put our bags away, and we just trust that the pilot knows exactly what he's doing. Even though we can't see the cockpit, we relax because we believe that he's been trained to take us safely to our destination. But when it comes to our lives, especially our healing, it's not always that easy to trust the pilot, the one that's actually in control. I remember one particular flight that taught me a lot about trust. My husband and I, we were headed on vacation. We boarded the plane. We found our seats and listened to the flight attendant as they gave their usual safety presentation. We buckled up, and soon we were in the air. About 30 minutes into the flight, I hear a loud boom, like a washing machine that had gone off cycle that was coming from the left side of the plane. The flight attendants quickly moved into action, calling for others to take seats near the exit rows. That's when we learned the left engine had gone out. There we were, thousands of feet in the air, one engine gone, and my heart was racing. My first instinct was to panic. I grabbed the armrest, held onto my husband, and thought, what if we don't make it through this? But then I looked around. Some people were calmly reading their books. Others were just staring out of the window. And it hit me. None of us had ever seen the pilot. We didn't know his name, his face, or his exact plan for this emergency. Yet we trusted him anyway. We trusted that he was trained and that he'd handled situations like this before and that he knew exactly how to get us safely back to where we needed to go. And in that moment, I felt a quiet whisper in my spirit. That's how I want you to trust me. Because the truth is, we don't have to see the cockpit of our lives to know that God is in control. Even when the engine fails, even when the turbulence shakes us, he knows how to get us through, and he is able. When you're grieving and trusting God's plan can feel impossible, there are days when his plan just doesn't feel good, and the pain feels unfair, or when your prayers just don't seem to be answered in the way that you hoped. But here's what I learned. Trusting God doesn't mean pretending you're not hurting. It means believing he's still good, even when life isn't. It's trusting that he's working in ways that you can't even see. It's holding on when you don't understand the route. It's remembering that he's still flying the plane, even when the turbulence makes you question everything. In Proverbs 3:5-6, it says, trust in the Lord with all your heart, and lean not unto your own understanding. In all your ways, submit to him, and he will make your path straight. That verse doesn't promise that the journey will be easy, but it does promise we won't be navigating it alone. There were so many moments after my losses when I wanted to know why. Why did this happen to me? Why did it happen back to back? And why would a loving God allow so much pain? I didn't get all the answers, but what I got was peace. And that peace came from learning to trust the pilot, even when I didn't understand the flight plan. See, when I look back now, I can see that even in the chaos, God was guiding me. He was redirecting me. He was healing parts of me I didn't even know were broken. And he was preparing me for the purpose I walk in today. That doesn't mean I don't still have questions. It means I've learned that I don't have to have control to have peace. So how do we actually start trusting God in our healing journey? Well, one, we talk to him honestly. You don't have to sound perfect. God can handle your why and your frustration at the same time. Next, write it down. When you journal your prayers, you create a record of what you're learning, even when you don't see progress right away. Then, look back at how he's carried you before. When you reflect on the storms he's already brought you through, it strengthens your faith for what's ahead. And lastly, release the need to know every detail. We don't question how the plane stays in the air. We just trust that it will. In that same way, we can trust that God knows what he's doing, even when we don't. So let's recap today's episode. Trusting God doesn't mean you won't feel fear. It means you choose faith anyway. You don't have to see the cockpit to believe He's in control. God's plan might not look like yours, but it will always lead to your purpose. And sometimes, peace is found when you stop trying to fly the plane yourself. All right, well, you know what time it is. Go grab your journal. Here's your journal prompt to focus on for the week. God, help me trust you in the places I don't understand. When my healing feels slow or uncertain, remind me that you're still in control and I'm still safe in your hands. Thank you for joining me for today's episode of Highlight Your Healing. If this message spoke to your heart, make sure to follow the podcast and leave a review. It helps another woman find this space and the hope she's been praying for. And remember, grief doesn't get the final say, God does. So grab your journal and keep highlighting your healing.